Hey everybody, Optimus Tom here to take a look at a 5-0 deck from a Pioneer League from Magic the Gathering online user Mogged. We haven't seen this deck since the Smuggler's Copter ban in 2019. It's a color combination after my own heart, Mono Black Aggro. The deck is looking to just be aggressive against your opponents early and back it up with removal and discard. You're putting pressure on the board, using interaction to remove threats that get in the way of your attacking creatures, and then generating advantage thanks to not only the unbanned Smuggler's Copter, but also the recently printed Gix Yawgmoth Praetor to keep up all of that card advantage in selection as long as you keep turning things sideways. We also wind up having Bitter Triumph as a new piece of interaction in this deck. Not only does it hit Planeswalkers, but you could wind up binning extra copies of Bloodsoaked Champion or Scrap Heap Scrounger, which will come back from the graveyard later on down the line to generate some extra value. We have 7 creature lands in the deck between Hive of the Eye Tyrant and Mutavault to keep that pressure on and keep on crewing the Copter to keep swinging. The sideboard goes a little bit more mid-range with 2 different versions of Liliana, of the Veil, and The Last Hope, just to give a little bit more utility to the deck, as well as Kalitas, which will be a stonewall against aggro decks and is also great against graveyard synergies that want things sitting there. We also see a couple copies of Glistening Deluge, which is great against token decks like Convoke and some aggro decks like Humans, as if they're green and white creatures, they're going to get an additional -1/-1 on top of the original one to just kind of clear the board. Advantages to this deck are that it can finish games quickly, the disruption package is better in the colors of black versus some mid-range control combo options that we have in the format, and in general we're going to wind up having some ways to disrupt combination decks that you don't have in other aggro lists. The disadvantages are it's not as grindy as some of the other mid-range options out there like Rakdos, and it does stall out against bigger blockers if you see some Cavalier of Thorns on the opposite side. Your card draw is also very creature dependent. If you can't attack, you can't get advantages. This deck seems to be good against combo decks like Lotus Field, as well as Greasefang with all the incidental graveyard hate, especially from 4 copies of Graveyard Trespasser, and 1 Lord Skitter the Sewer King, which is going to be creating rats, pretending to be Goblin Rabblemaster, and exiling cards from your opponent's graveyard as well. The deck does not seem to be great against the other mid-range decks in the format, like Rakdos and Is It Phoenix, that can just take the wind out from underneath its sails, remove these creatures, and potentially take them out of your graveyard as well. Thanks for taking a look at this Mono Black Aggro deck. If you like more of my content, you can find me over on my YouTube channel as well as TikTok, and then check out Optimus Tom on Reddit for all of my Pioneer content.